Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Stitching the High Notes, a knitting, cross-stitching, sewing, all-around crafty podcast and vlog. My name is Joanna. You can find me on the social medias as Opera Joe and also in Ravelry as Opera Joe. And I am super excited and nervous to join this wonderful community of knitting podcasters and the knitting community as well in a whole new way. So a little bit about me and why I'm doing this podcast. One is I'm obsessed. I don't think that's too strong of a way to say it. I am obsessed with podcasts. I was introduced to them about a year ago and I adore them. They're the best way to decompress, to kind of take yourself out of your head, and kind of get the creative juices flowing in a way that I had never experienced before. And I thought, why not kind of join in the fun? I have lots to show and to tell and to share. Also, I'm an artist outside of fiber arts, if I may be so bold to call myself a fiber artist. I think it's a hobby, but I am a professional singer here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm also an arts fundraiser for a wonderful regional theater here. And I began knitting in earnest, that's the right way to say that, about a little over a year ago. About a year, almost a year and a half ago, actually. I picked it up again when I was in rehearsals for a Christmas show, and I wasn't on stage that much, so I needed something to do that wasn't on my phone. I was tired of looking at my phone. I work on the computer all day, which I'm a geek and I love. But I needed something creative to do and keep the creative juices flowing. And I thought, I remember knitting back in grad school. Maybe I'll try that. In grad school, I dabbled with it, but it never really took off. I got back into grad school, which, can be all encompassing. And so flash forward to just a little over a year and a half ago, I picked it up and started just knitting like a seed stitch scarf. I retaught myself how to knit using Creativebug. Highly recommend it if you haven't experienced their wonderful tutorials. And then I started to get the itch and I was like, what else is out there? And at the same time, I had been sewing. I had picked up sewing in 2014, I think, and adore sewing. I don't do it enough. I want to do it some more. I had started sewing to make costumes. I think I'm an opera singer and a classical singer. I don't think I mentioned that, hence Opera Joe. And I love being in costumes. I mean, that's one of the perks of the job, and I love playing characters and telling a story through a character that has gone through things that I haven't necessarily gone through in my life. And I wanted to keep that going. And so I made a wonderful jacket with I think it's a simplicity pattern. That was for a Fairyland, which is a wonderful theme park here in Oakland. I live in Berkeley, but it's next door in Oakland that I grew up going to. Think old school Disneyland. It actually was the side note. It was an inspiration to Disney. He came to visit it when he was building Disneyland. Anyway, they had a fundraiser, and it was a costumed fundraiser, and it was villains. And I was really into Once Upon a Time at the time. Not so much anymore. Gonna jump the shark. And I found this pattern, and I was like, I need to make this. My mother was a seamstress back in the day before she switched her superpowers to business. And I said, Mom, will you like teach me how to sew? And she's like, yes. It was like, oh, she was ready to go hog wild. And so we made this jacket together, and it was wonderful. I caught the bug right away. I'd been dabbling in sewing before with my good friend Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl, if you're watching. But this was my first like full completed piece. That summer, I then made a Renaissance Fair costume. And then later on, I go to this event every year now. It's been 3 years, called the Edwardian Ball in San Francisco. It's a costume ball. It's 2 nights. It's amazing and gothic and everything not knitting world family friendly, but it is wonderful, and you get to dress to the nines. And I made a period true, that's what you would say, for a tulip skirt, Edwardian tulip skirt. I think the pattern was truly Victorian, and that was the last like big thing. That was, I think, the last thing I sewed outside of project bags. And I think I just kind of burned out. I kind of went too big. And so for almost a year now, I've been saying, oh, I'm just going to make like a shirt or a dress or an everyday item. But knitting entered, and it won my heart for the time being and forever. Let's be honest. So that's my story. I have fiber artists in my family. My Grammy, namely, hi Grammy, if you're watching. She's still knitting away. She's wonderful. I'm hoping to have her on this podcast at some point. She lives in Kansas. So I've got to figure out how to do that whole like Knit Girls podcast, like videotaping the Skype thing. It's on my list. If any of you have tidbits, let me know. So, let's jump into it. Let me fire up my wonderful show notes here. Maybe I'll be fancy and cut this out. We'll see. So, okay. First of all, as is tradition with any knitting podcast worth their salt, you have tea. And you share what tea you're having. First, you take a sip. That's delightful. Oh, it really is delightful. Okay, so this is one of my favorite new teas. It's Numi, and it's chocolate indulgent tea, chocolate Earl Grey, and it is wonderful. It's just like a little hint of chocolate to like just make you a little happy, like you're without eating a whole chocolate bar. So, okay, let's go into it. So, finished objects. Since it's the first podcast, I thought I'd show some of my work. Some of it is right here, so I'm gonna grab it. This is Agnes, my dress form. She's named after my great-grandmother Agnes, who was a professional seamstress. So let me grab this stuff. Okay, first I'm gonna show you a picture here of, besides the like seed stitch scarf that I was making, which is still somewhere. It's just a practice knit. I made a Falling Leaves lace scarf by Debbie Stoller, and I did the class through Creativebug, and I highly recommend it if you're ready to jump into stitches that aren't your kind of basic knit purl. It teaches you like yarn overs and all that stuff. It's wonderful. And Debbie Stoller is an amazing teacher, and she's got that type of sense of humor that I have. I like to think I have and enjoy. A little edgy, even though I don't think I'm going to show it that much on this podcast. There might be some sheep baths over some cursing, but I don't think it'll happen. Anyway, so I made it with, I went to Stitches West, about a month. I went to Stitches West not too long after I started knitting with my good friend Margaret. Hi, Margaret! Margaret, you better be coming on this podcast. Just saying. So I bought a yarn baby, as I called it, and this yarn is to die for. And I made this scarf for my Grammy, who I think loves it. I see her wearing it often on Skype and elsewhere. And she, anyway, so I made it. I have a ton of it left over because it's a Miss Babs Yowza Whatta Skein. It was like a bajillion yards, and it's in the Coventry colorway. So here that is. And this is before I had a Swift. So yeah, it was hardcore. And I love it. It is so squishy, and I love the color. And so I've been trying to figure out what to make with the rest of this for a while. But anyway, it was my first like proper knitting project that I blocked and everything. And so I loved it. The next thing I made was this for myself, and it's the Starshower Cowl by Hilary Smith Callis. The yarn is a yarn I'm obsessed with called Voolenvine Yarns. I know many of you are, and if not, what's going on? You need to join the club. And if some Miracle Habits and Kristen is watching this, hi Kristen, I adore you. You're amazing. Kristen also hosts one of the very first vlogs and podcasts that I watched, which is YarnGasm, best name ever. Highly recommend that you watch that as well if you are not already a fan. So here is my Starshower Cowl. It's Voolenvine Yarns in the Outlander colorway in her Strasse base. And I love this construction. I need to wear a plain t-shirt next time I podcast. But anyway, it's I love the colors are amazing. They epitomize everything that I associate with the Outlander books and the show too. And I love the construction of this shawl. I love all of Hilary's designs. This is the only one that I've made. I have a couple in her queue, in my queue rather. But I wish I had done another repeat because my shoulders are quite broad. So I got opera singer lungs and shoulders. But I love it. It needs to be blocked. It hasn't been blocked since I first blocked it, but I adore this. The second FO that I'll show you, I keep looking the wrong way. The second FO I will show you is the Marin Shawl by Ysolda Teague. The yarn is Annapurna Cashmere by wonderful local star, a Verb for Keeping Warm, in the Vermillion colorway. And here it is. It's a shawlette. And it is so squishy and warm and beautiful. I love the color. And it's got this like, a little peek down here. It's got this like, my first cabling that I had ever done, and my first short row turns, I think that's what you call it, which gave me a huge headache, but it was a learning experience, as we say. And I love it. It's a sport weight yarn. If you can get your hands on anything from a Verb Keeping Warm, any of their own yarn, I highly recommend it. It's so wonderful. Okay, moving on. And then this is a really recent FO. So this is the song, what's it called? The Song of the Sea Cowl. And I totally forgot to write down who it's by, but I'll put it up on the screen here. And the yarn is, surprise, surprise, Voolenvine in the Gashly Crumb colorway in her Narwhal base. And you guys, OMG. Dare I say OMFG? There, I said it, guys. It is amazing. It is, the colors are just, I hope it's picking up okay. There we go. It's like, it's got these little pops of green in there. And, oh, snap, y'all. I was showing it to you up inside out. No wonder it looked weird. Let's try this again. There we go. It is wonderful. It is a really long cowl. So it's kind of like this. And then you can double it up if you're like walking down the street and have your coat on. But I love it. I love the pattern. It's very, I wanted something kind of Art Deco looking for this yarn. And I think I kind of hit the jackpot. I had put this pattern in my queue a while ago to make with, and I might do it anyway. I bought some rainbow yarn after the Supreme Court passed the law to legalize gay marriage throughout the nation from Voolenvine, surprise again. And I wanted something that had like rainbows on it, and so I found this pattern because it kind of reminded me of like little rainbows. But I thought this was perfect for this yarn, and it's really Art Deco. I don't know if you can see, there's even little pops of blue. Oh, love it. I'll put in some pictures so you can see too. But so that, I can't wait to wear that. I'm going to wear this week because it'll be really awesome. So those are FOs. I keep looking the wrong way, but those are FOs. I'll pause for some tea. Okay. Now we go on to whips. And I don't have a ton of them. I have a lot of sock whips happening on. I have a lot of sock whips. But yeah, let's just jump into it. So I'm taking part in the Harry Potter cowls that are happening. One is hosted by Katie. Hi, Katie, if you're watching, of the Inside Number 23 podcast. And let me say, if you're watching, I'm just going to assume that everybody's going to watch this. It's not going to happen. It'll be my friends and family, but hi, Katie. If you haven't watched her podcast, as I sound like a broken record, but I highly recommend it. She's wonderful. She's in England. She sews as well. She has the most adorable pug. She just did a series of vlogs during her vacation, her sewcation. She's so inspiring and I adore her. She's amazing. So she's hosting a Harry Potter cowl, and also the amazing, my Instagram buddy, if I may be so bold as to say, and my enabler buddy for life, Jilly, also known as Vegan Jilly of the Knitting Broomstick podcast. Hi, Jilly. She is also hosting a Harry Potter cowl. She hosts a slew of wonderfully nerdy, geeky cowls. Side note, I'm a major geek and nerd, but we'll get into that later. And they both, I believe, end April 30th, so it's coming up. So I have a hoe. I have a hoe. This is my Harry Potter sock. It is in the it is C.C.s Vanilla Cappuccino sock pattern, and it's toe up. And the yarn is by Melissa of Hey Lady Hey. Hi, Melissa. In the BFL base, and it's called, wait for it, guys. You're a Wizard, Harry. I just sound just like Hagrid, right? Yeah. I love this yarn. It's super sturdy. It's not the usual. It's the first time I've knit with BFL. It's not like as rustic as like a Regia or anything, but I love it. And the color, I love how it's pooling here. And when you have the sock off the blocker, it looks like little lightning, like Harry Potter lightning bolts. I love it. So I'm working on the second one, and I have it in my Knit Run Dig coffee bag. And this was part of a kit that I got from C.C. of the Geeky Girls Knit. How can I not have talked about that podcast already? YarnGasm and Geeky Girls Knit are what were my entryway drugs. And I love both of those podcasts like nothing else. And C.C. and Damaris, I mean, if you guys are watching, hello, I adore you both. They're both such wonderful people. It's a mother and daughter. They live in Edinburgh. They're from the US. They have great spirits. They're both, as the title says, geeky, as I am. C.C. is a designer of primarily sock patterns. She has a wonderful new book out that I'm hoping to get and join Vegan Jilly or the Knitting Broomstick, her cowl. She's doing a year-long cowl. Cowl. And so anyway, so my Harry Potter sock lives in here. And here's the yarn. I mean, come on. Hello. I don't know what it reminds me of Hagrid, but it kind of reminds me of like a rustic Birdie's box, which I got with my yarn from Hey Lady Hey. I'm too scared to eat these. Like, do they really have booger flavors? Ooh. Anyway, so this is on circular needles. They're my Carbons, US size 1. And I'm doing toe up. And you guys, look at this. It's a golden snitch. It's a golden snitch. It is. Oh, I've got to do that thing everybody does. There you go. And the Progress Keeper is from Rachel of the Fuzzy Knits Etsy shop. And it comes not just with one golden snitch, you guys. Not just one. It comes with a whole bag of golden snitches. I mean, come on. And what's really cool about this is that they're not all Progress Keepers. They are all Progress Keepers, but they come with the little doohickeys. So if you're doing a project that needs multiple stitch markers, you can have like 5 golden snitches. I mean, hello. So, yes. So that's my sock whip number 1. Sock whip number 2 of 3 is in my Portland bag that I picked up at a bookstore that I can't remember that everybody goes to. I'll put it right here. And these, I went to a local, when I was there, I was visiting friends. Hi, Lindsay and Ashley, you're there. And anytime we went somewhere, I looked on Yelp and was like, hey guys, there's a yarn shop 2 blocks away. Can we go? Yeah. It happened 2 or 3 times. So this yarn shop is Happy Knits. They're awesome. And this was my first Arnie and Carlos Regia after seeing a bajillion different podcasts and blogs knitting with this stuff. This is in the Twilight colorway. And I was so eager. I didn't bring sock needles with me, so I had to buy some. I bought some knit picks in a store, and I got this gigantic, forget what size, it's way too big, but it's cuff down, fish kiss lips heel. I should say that my Harry Potter one is a fish lips kiss heel as well. And the Progress Keeper is a little acorn from Molly of a Homespun House. And I'm down to the foot. I started decreasing, and then I was like, I don't want to do it. And this is why I do toe up. It's like, I just don't like it. When I wear socks, they wear out in the toe first. And that might be because of the fit of like commercially made socks. I have a really high arch. So, but yeah. So anyway, I need to just plow through and do it. And I'm going to do the next one toe up since I know that's how I do it. So these are on slightly bigger needles. These are on 1.5 needles. And I've been trying out different sizes because the US size one, like my Harry Potter socks are kind of small. And I'm thinking that if I block them, they'll be okay. But I think it has to do with the fact that I have high arches. But the 1.5 is just slightly big, unblocked. So, but I like them. I don't know. I'll just go with the flow. So anyway, those are sock whip number 2. And I have this, I have another couple of balls of this for socks for my mama. Hi, Mom. Okay. That's kind of annoying that I'm going, hi everybody, but I don't care. I'm going to do it. So, last sock whip. This is my first project bag I ever made, and I found a pattern on Pinterest or something. And part of it, there are many issues with this, and it was the first time of me doing a zipper, and I did it on my own. But this is my little bag. It's got a handle. It does the job. It's all good. And I love the fabric. It's by Cotton and Steel, which is my favorite cotton quilting fabric company. Moda is pretty awesome, but it's pretty good. Some other day I'll show you some of my fabric stash, but not this time. So this is my Sock Monkey socks by Yarn Enabler, who has an Etsy shop. She's an indie yarn dyer. It's self-striping. I did a first time doing a alternate toe, cuff, and heel, and I kind of ended up with this weird line, but whatever. I love the yarn. It's so squishy. And it came with like a mini for the cuff, heel, and toe, but I totally ran out, so I just ordered, I don't have it here, but I ordered another skein of the red. And this is a Progress Keeper, my unicorn Progress Keeper from Molly of a Homespun House. And I don't think I've talked about, I'm doing that awkward focus thing everybody does. Okay, there you go. So, A Homespun House is another wonderful podcast. The host is Molly. She lives in Berlin. She's American. She's made wonderful project bags. She sells really cute and adorable and wonderful and inspiring stitch markers and progress keepers. And lately she's dived into the world of yarn dyeing. I love her yarn. I would love to be able to capture some more of it when the shop goes live, but I've got one ball somewhere. Of course, it's at the bottom of my yarn basket. Got yarn everywhere. Okay, so this is, I wound this up. This is, I forget the name of it, but it's, let's just pause here. I'll get it. We're doing this on the fly, people. Okay, this is Home for the Holidays. Here's her adorable card, and it's just screams Christmas. I mean, come on. So when December 1st rolls around, these guys are getting cast on. And I think it's okay that I wound it, right? It's not gonna like mess up the yarn, but anyway. Okay, so yeah, so these are these guys, and they're on size, okay, so I thought I was buying 1.5 US, and I ended up buying size 2. These are Addy Rockets. So this sock is like gigantor on me, but I think it's good. I think it's gonna be really good at home socks, like when it's winter time. So I'm looking forward to them. Okay, put these guys back. Now for the big guy, and I have to go down here to get him. And by big, I mean intricate, not big size-wise. So this is the Ninier Cowl by Lucy Hogg. And you guys, whoops, Celtic knots. Amazing. Oh, it's kind of getting blown out. Let's see if I can get there. That's like a true color. And it'll eventually go like this around the neck. And this is for my friend Cheryl. And it's her Christmas gift, as in Christmas 5 months ago. But as you can see, it's pretty. It's my first time doing Celtic stuff. Sorry, guys. And I love it. I almost took a Celtic knitting class. Celtic cables, thank you. I couldn't think of it. Celtic cable knitting class at Stitches West, and it just didn't work out time-wise. I love it. I'd love to be able to learn how to do this without using a cable needle, because I feel like it slows me down. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm using Knit Picks. These wonderful, hold on, let me, Celtic cable needles that have like little notches on them, and there's like 3 sizes. Anyway, this yarn is Malabrigo yarn sock in the Fresco e Fresco colorway, and I'm using US size 5 3.75 millineedles, as C.C. would say. I don't think that's a common thing, so sorry C.C. if I'm hijacking your millineedles. And they're on my carbons, which I have an interchangeable set. I love these. These are the best needles. They're not the best for like lace work. I made a Pebble Beach shawl for my mom using Miss Bab's lace. And I really should have like gotten some high sharps or something. Cause it was, I loved the fabric that turned out. I love the product. I love all the things that I learned doing it. But I was ready to be done. Sorry, Mama. I was ready to be done with it. So yeah. So I'm really close to being done with this guy. After I podcast today, I'm really hoping to really get close to finishing. I'd love to finish it this week, but to be honest, I don't think it's going to happen. I have a big solo coming up next Sunday, so... So, we'll see how far. This is in a yarn bowl that my mama got me when she was, I think, up in Alaska. Is that right, Mom? Yeah. And I love it. It lives here in my house. So those are my whips. So, in the queue, I have, I think, 10 babies that are about to be born in my life. It's a lot. I don't know what y'all are, well, I know what you're doing, but I don't know what y'all are drinking or what's happening. But I have some babies on the way. Great friends, great coworkers and friends, and the big one is I'm gonna be an aunt. Yay! My sister is preggo. So I have many baby projects that are in the queue, and I'm trying to decide on what to make. I have decided on a couple of things, but I'm not going to share here, especially for my sister, because I could say fast forward to this time in the podcast and she wouldn't do it. She's notorious for that. Like growing up, I'm going to out you, Caroline. Well, I said your name. I'm going to out you, Caroline. Growing up, she would go, I know what you're getting for Christmas. And then you want to know? And I'd go, no, I don't want to know. Okay, I know if you want to know. And you know, when you're like, somebody knows, you're going to like, okay, tell me, you know. So many baby projects are on the horizon. I'll share them as I can. In a perfect world, I'll have them timed out so that I can show them. Oh no, my show notes went away. I'm totally distracted, so I'm going to plug in my computer. And we are back. Sorry for that little interlude, which hopefully you didn't really feel. Okay. So in the queue, as I said, I have many baby projects, and next up is the Architecture Shawl by Jennifer Weissman. I'm going to be making this for my friend Radoslava. Radi, I have to say your name that way. And I'm going to be using this delectable yarn I picked up at Stitches West this year. It's Miss Babs, and it is their new Caroline base in the pewter colorway. It is so soft. It's so soft. It is 70% superwash merino wool, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And it is wonderful. I love the color. I think I'll be getting really great stitch definition with this yarn as well. The drape is really good. I'm super excited. So yeah, so that's next up. And then I'm gonna talk about this next week because my aunt is coming into town and I'll be seeing her next Sunday, and this will be for her. Hint, hint. So I'll show that then. Oh, I wanted to show what I've been keeping my Ninier cowl in. And one of my favorite companies is Little Skein in the Big Wool, which is a local company. I think she's in South San Francisco. And she makes project bags and does kits and all kinds of stuff. And I got this at Stitches West too. I just love the fabric. I can't remember if she created this fabric or one of her friends she worked with. But they're just so beautifully made. They're just wonderful. So yeah. So next thing in the queue is the thing that I'm going to talk about. And then a falling water scarf by Bonnie Senot. I'll be making this for my Auntie Joyce. Another way belated Christmas gift, but the yarn is on its way. It's Miss Babs in the, I forgot the base name, in the Rainforest colorway. So when I receive that in the mail, I will be sure to show you guys on the next podcast. And then acquisitions. I mean, with it being the first episode, I could show you my whole stash, but we'd be here forever, and that would be boring. I mean, not for me, maybe not for knitters out there, but it would be boring. So I'm going to give you the most recent stash acquisitions in the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to preface that I am on a yarn diet, and these were either gifts or ordered. Well, junk yarn doesn't, yeah, I broke my yarn diet for junk yarn. So junk yarn. the wonderful Kemper of Junk Yarn. She has a podcast as well, and she's been dyeing yarn. She's also a designer. She has a wonderful blog as well. And so she dyes yarn based and inspired by women. And she runs the gamut between literary figures, superheroes, you name it. I love it. I love her inspiration. So I'm a big Star Wars fan. I kind of always have been. I've been kind of closeted, if I may say so, until I've always kind of been a big Star Wars fan. And then when the prequels came out, my heart was crushed a little bit, y'all. They just were not good. They were not good. And then when this Force Awakens came out, when I saw the trailer, my hope sprung eternal. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, is it finally time for Star Wars to return? It did, y'all. I saw it 5 times in the theater. Love it. So I saw this yarn and I couldn't resist. It's Leia. It's a Leia colorway. I mean, Leia. It is wonderful. It's a smooth sock base, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. It is, I mean, look at that. It's got this green, this like burgundy speckleness happening, her brown hair, her like the cream of her outfit in the first movies. I mean, it's amazing. So look, it's got like a pistachio kind of color. I mean, come on. So I'm trying to figure out what it's not going to be socks. I mean, it's too special for that to go on my feet. I mean, come on. So it's going to be a shawl of some sort. I think I have some pattern ideas. But yeah, that's going to happen. And then I also ordered, so this year, I, Joanna, am going to Comic-Con. So excited. So excited. Comic-Con in San Diego. Like the Comic-Con. The mecca of nerddom. It's happening. So I saw this in the Junk Yarn shop update and I couldn't resist. I mean, come on. It's these minis are 20 grams each. They're like, I don't know if you meant to do this, Kemper, but they're like tied around this like Wonder Woman lasso of truth. It's amazing. So let me break this down for you. So I don't know which is which, but I'll give my best guess. How about that? It'll be a little game. So Invisible Jet, I'm gonna say is this guy, as in Wonder Woman and Invisible Jet. We'll get a little closer. We'll get a little closer there. Okay, and then there's Cosmic Fire, which has got to be this one, right? Then there's Mutation She-Hulk. Oh, Cosmic Fire is Phoenix. Mutation She-Hulk. Come on. It's like, it's so bright. I have to go back here. I mean, oh my god. Amazing. Chaos Magic. I'm gonna say this one. And it's Scarlet Witch. And look at all the speckles. Oh, And then the last one is Plasmoids, which is Jubilee. And I'm not familiar. I gotta Google this because I'm not familiar. Shame on me. Oh, I'm gonna say it's this one. I don't know. I mean, speckles. Speckles for days. It's amazing. Kemper, you've outdone yourself. You need to always have these until Comic-Con ends in your shop. I don't know what I'm gonna make with them. It's enough to make a pair of like striped socks. I might do that. I kind of want to make a cowl. So, which brings me to not new acquisitions because it's from Stitches West. But I have minis. I made this project bag during Christmas. I used Hue Loco's wonderful tutorial. Cotton and steel fabric. Surprise, surprise. So I keep my minis in there. I can't. It was right when Downton Abbey ended. Crinkling! It's the Downton Abbey set by Canyon Hand Dyes. It's a color for each character. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this chevron cowl. I'll show a picture here. And get 1 or 2 skeins of the Mr. Mason colorway to be the main color, and then all of these minis will be the striped chevrons. Because I like the chevron because it kind of keeps with the 20s theme, and I like cowls. I'm a singer. I like stuff on my neck all the time. Sound kind of wrong. But you get what I mean. So yeah, anyway. And then the last thing I'll share is I got this as a gift from my wonderful landlord who's upstairs. She just returned from Dublin and she bought me some yarn. It was so beautiful. So she gave me 2 skeins of the Studio Donegal. Look at the colors. It's their soft Donegal base, which is, I don't know, straight up wool. I think it's, 100% merino wool. Spun in Ireland. The colorway, I don't know what it is. I think I found it on Ravelry, but I can't remember what it is. But it's squishy and wonderful. I think this will be a hat for sure. It's wonderful. It's nice to have in the stash for sure. Okay. Other yarns that I love that I wanted to tell you about that you'll see throughout future podcasts are, I love Miss Babs. I've talked a bunch about projects that I've done or have coming up on the needles with Miss Babs. The Wool Barn, I love her yarn. Maya of the Wool Barn. She has her own website now. She used to be on Etsy and now she has her own website. Let me see if I can grab some. Here's this guy. This is Luxury Sport in the violet. It's just her bases are so smooth and like, well, this should be smooth. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. I think this might be a hat. Oh, it looks good. Yeah. And then another one that I had my eye on this forever, for like 6 months, and I finally bought it, and I think I'm gonna make a Verb shawl out of this, and I was inspired by Tiny Paper Foxes. She made one out of like I think she made a Verb shawl out of like a tweedy or maybe just a brown yarn, and I was like, oh, I could make that out of my Wool Barn. But look, it's tweed. It's so like fall and autumnal. Love this yarn. It's also, oh no, it's 85, it's called Burnt Camel. And it is 85% superwash merino and 15% Donegal nep. So yeah, I love it. So those are, oh, and I said I wasn't going to show my stash, but it's kind of happening. Don't worry, it's not really happening. Hue Loco, who I used her wonderful bag tutorial, I snagged a while ago a skein of her yarn. This is Filio Sport in the Supernova colorway, and it's 80% merino, 20% nylon, and oh, look at all the colors. Supernova indeed. Oh, so cool. Love it. And then this was my first indie yarn purchase. And I think I'm afraid to use it. And I was inspired by Kemper of Junk Yarn when she introduced Spun Right Round on Etsy, and she was like in love with the speckle. I think this, yeah, Shock Star. When it's knit up, there we go. When it's knit up, it looks like funfetti birthday cake. I don't know if it's on purpose, but it will. I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna do a hitchhiker shawl out of this. It's very squishy too. I like it. So yeah, okay. Let's wrap this up. So sewing wise, I kind of already gave a little bit of insight into past projects. Nothing's on the horizon. I'll just out myself and say it. I am on Weight Watchers. I've been off and on for years. And I've been on it for about, off and on it, let's be honest, for about a year. But I signed up recently for coachings, and they switched their plan back in the fall. And it's really starting to work for me. All that is to say is that my goal is to lose 25 pounds, and then I'm going to make an Anna dress out of some cotton and steel fabric of my choosing. So that's the next thing I kind of want to sew and do. There are a couple of things I need to fix. The calendar behind me is a panel that I bought from Spoonflower, and it's a calendar, but it's a piece of fabric, and so I've got to hem that. But yeah, I'm trying to start small. I love making project bags. It's not something I'll ever do for Etsy. I don't have enough time. I have a gajillion jobs and hobbies already, but I've got some fabric to make for that. I'm going to make a project bag for all the baby knits that I'm going to make. So yeah, so that's on the sewing horizon. Now I'm going to insert a little video here, a segment that I hope to do with each podcast as available, called Backstage Knitting. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to Backstage Knitting with Radoslava and Debbie, who's deep into her music right now, and Crystal. And we're getting ready to practice on the town, which we're doing in a month. Troublemaker. But anyway. And now it is time for the All Hallowed tea time. Come with me on this journey. Oh, I can't turn the thing around. Okay. Well, we'll just look at me as I walk awkwardly. Tea time, tea time. So here we have a wide selection of teas. What are you going to choose? Oh. I've got my tea, and now it's time to knit during tea time. And I can't do this one-handed, so...
Let me do it.
Yeah. My friend's gonna help me. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm determined to get this done. Look at that. We made it. First podcast. Yeah! I really hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. I didn't think I would really love talking to myself on the screen, even though I'm not looking at myself. I love sharing all this with you all. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I love watching it, other podcasts, and sharing that time with other knitters and makers. I think it's just such a special thing. What a special time we live in, that we can create on our own time and then share it with each other through the internets and on Ravelry, and to talk about it and discuss it and get new ideas from each other and enable each other. And it's just wonderful. And I really hope, to continue doing this. I'm excited about these possible new steps in taking part in the knitting community. And if you really liked it, hit the subscribe button and give me the old thumbs up and hit the like button. It's been lovely spending time with you, and I will talk to you all again soon.